I'm Ryan Hartman,
And I'm Marsha Gardner.
and tomorrow we will be wed.
And we will have our first kiss.
I now pronounce them man and wife, and you may kiss the bride.
I'll start from my point of view. I had moved to Edmonton actually to pursue to pursue Christ in a way. I wasn't saved yet, but I just wanted more and to know more about these people that said they were saved. Just to analyze their lives, see what they were like, and compare myself to them and what they had, what I did, and things like that. And so I moved from a small town to Edmonton, and from there I got connected with the White Ave group, which does ministry evangelism on White Ave. And I again wasn't saved, but I was ministering to people on the avenue, and that's about the time that Marsha, she'll give you her perspective as well, but that's about the time that I met her. You know, I had wanted marriage from the beginning, and that was my intention right from the time I saw her. And from then on, I guess we just pursued things slowly, and we made, a covenant to each other not to kiss or anything. And I mean, that's based on Romans, not making provision for the flesh. And that's based off of my past life in having struggles with sin and temptation and whatnot. And I knew that giving any kind of occasion or making any kind of way or doorway to sin was I didn't even want to struggle with that. So I just cut it off at the root.
So I had just left Swan River, Manitoba, and had just gotten out of a rough relationship, wanted to get away from the whole small town deal. And then, yeah, like I said, I moved to Edmonton. I lived with my cousin Kimberly. I got a job at La Senza and worked my way up there. And I also felt a need to pursue Christ. Like when I was in Swan River, I would feel convictions about some of the things that I was doing, like with my boyfriend, and just not keeping pure in that aspect. And so I really did feel convicted about it. And then at one point in time, I remember that God was kind of like, okay, me or him, and I actually chose my boyfriend. And I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I knew that it wasn't pleasing to God, and I felt a very heavy conviction. But, so I stayed with him anyways, and then, yeah, we ended up breaking up and everything, and I just realized now that God was just trying to save me from a lot of pain, and I should have listened to him. And so anyways, when I had been in Edmonton, you know, I bounced back into another relationship. And even then, I just felt convicted about it, just like, you know, you shouldn't be doing this. And so, by the time that I had met Ryan, I was pretty solid on what I didn't want to do, and that was limited to, you know, just, like, not even kissing, because I just didn't feel right about it. And now I realize that, you know, it was the right thing to do, because I mean, there's points in mine and Ryan's relationship where things like just hugging would be provision for the flesh, and that was even a struggle, and we, you know, had to cut that out at certain times. And you know, it may seem pretty radical, but I mean, ultimately, we want to please God, and you know, our conscience, we just can't deal with it if it's you know, so strong. And yeah, we just really want to please God. So there was times where we didn't hug purposely. There was times where we just held hands. And yeah, did we always remain pure in our minds? No. And do I wish we could say we did? Yes. But through it all, I just know that God's faithful and just to forgive us, and that you know, He's kept us from kissing and given us the strength to do so.